Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Hakodash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel, and the rest of the elect destined to be saved. I'm the brother Caleb from the GMS UK London Forecasters Camp, back with another lesson to help edify those of which I spoke of. I like to jump straight into this lesson. So basically, I was watching a Senate hearing in regards to men in women's sports, because this is an issue that's been coming up over the past few years, where you've got so-called, trans men who want to claim to be women competing in women's sports and decimating the female competition because they have, the biological advantages of being born male. And people like to deny the fact that men are by nature stronger than women, but the proof is, it's immutable. That's how the Most High designed us. He created the woman to be the weaker vessel. So the reason why I'm making this video is because as I was watching this hearing, you have this woman coming out in defense of Esau's agendas, the LGBTQ agenda, and the job that this woman is doing, riding out for Esau, is absolutely shameful, man. It's shameful and it's sickening to see our one of our people doing such a how do you say, dancing to the tune of her masters. And that's exactly what she's doing. Now, this is an example of a very wicked woman, and an example of, how the so-called nigger woman can be. So I'm going to play these clips, right? And you'll see how she tap dances around avoiding the issue of addressing the biological fundamental truth about male and female sexuality and genders. And she tries to come up with all kinds of rhetoric to, tap dance around and skirt around and avoid the issue without actually really saying anything. So I've got two clips lined up here. Lord willing, I don't get, a copyright strike on them. But I just thought it would be edifying to watch and speak upon and bring out precepts upon, because Esau is still following the serpent. The serpent in the garden, which was a man, who taught her these philosophies of the world, and Eve is still there eating of these philosophies. So let's play this clip and we'll break it down with some scriptures, Lord willing.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses here today. Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions. And this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Just, do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is a sign of birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged, but again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
say, and what does intersex mean?
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender, and I think in these conversations we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex. Okay, there's male, There's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I talk to young people that talk about non-binary as...
More than 5?
I think the gender is not a binary is what I'm trying to say.
Are there more than 5 genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than 5 genders?
Well, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there...
See, listen to her bullshit argument and her fake see her fake smiles. This is a demon right here, man. Now, she's talking about she's wearing pants today. That's part of the problem, man. Because the Most High didn't make women's apparel and men. The Most High didn't make female apparel and male apparel interchangeable. He made it specifically for each. Let me get this precept here. Bear with me 1 minute. Pull in a precept here. Bear with me. This is Deuteronomy 22 and verse 5. If I can pull it up on the screen here. Deuteronomy 22 and verse 5 says, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination to Yahweh thy power." So the woman's not supposed to wear that which pertains to the man, and the man isn't supposed to wear that which pertains to the woman. All that do so are an abomination. So this woman is, an abomination already. We know that. I know that at least because I've watched this clip before. But I'm bringing it out now. If you go back to it, and you can see this is just looking at her face, man, and those beady eyes behind those glasses, man. Let me get these precepts on her, because the Most High has robbed the woman of wisdom, or deprived the woman of wisdom. Let me get that one. This is Job 39 and 17. Let me read from verse 13. Job 39 from verse 13 says, "Gavest thou goodly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth and warmeth them in the dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that wild beasts may break them. She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labour is in vain without fear, because the Most High have deprived her of wisdom, neither have he imparted to her understanding." So the Most High has deprived these women of wisdom. And the scriptures also say, "I suffer not a woman to teach." Was that 1 Corinthians 11 and 3? Let me just check that one. Is that it? I don't know if it is the right one. No, that's not the right one I want. A good one. That's a good one, but not what I want. I might come back to this one. 1 Timothy 2. Is it 12? Yeah, that's the one. This is the one I wanted. It's 1 Timothy 2 and 12. 1 Timothy 2, I'll start at 9 actually. In like manner also that the woman adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with braided hair, that woman had braided hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array, but which becometh woman professing godliness with good works. Here's the point. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, and then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman, being deceived, was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. So this woman's supposed to be in silence. She ain't supposed to be teaching shit. Here she is up in this Senate hearing teaching this LGBTQ agenda. Now she's teaching exactly what her daddy Esau has taught her to push, and she's furthering it. So this really is a real visual prime example of the so-called nigger woman in action, man. Let's watch some more.
I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than 5?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is that gender is a reflection. Number? Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are 3 sexes: male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders, because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl. Okay, biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician, and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter.
You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think.
Right, so let's cut some of what she's saying here. She's saying that there's 3 genders, so three sexes, male, female, and intersex, and an infinite number of genders, right? We're going to cut that right here, right now. This is Genesis 1 and verse 27. Genesis 1 and verse 27 says this. So the powers created, because the word there should be Elohim. So the powers created man in their own image. In the image of the powers created him, male and female created he them. Read that again. So the powers created man in their own image. In the image of the powers created he them, they them. I should say they them, which is funny because that's what they say, when they go through pronouns. Created they them, male and female created they them. So the powers, the Elohim, which is the elect, which is led by Yahushai, created two genders, male and female. It also goes on to say that in Genesis 5 and 2. Go to Genesis 5 and 2. Let's read from verse 1. This is the book of the generations of Adam in the day that the powers created man. In the likeness of the powers made they him. Male and female created they them, and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. So they were the Adamites. Alright, there's two genders, male and female. That's what the Bible says, and that is, as they say, the God honest truth. So this woman is up here lying, pushing Esau's agendas and promoting nothing but confusion, basically doing what Eve was doing in the garden, following after the lies of the serpent. So let's play more.
How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Okay. I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business. But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport. In sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Kennedy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that there is not a definitive advantage in all cases. Sir, I don't know if you believe that you could beat Serena Williams in tennis, but I probably think that that's not the case. There are not all cases where all men are physically superior to all women. And at the end of the day, in this conversation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about trans women who are, in fact, women, who deserve to play in a gender that matches their sports, who deserve all the benefits that Ms. Gaines is talking about. And as a cisgender Black woman, I can say definitively that my womanhood is not threatened by a transgender person asserting hers as well.
Senator Hirono?
There you have Eve in action, man. Now there's another clip I want to play, which shows even more of the madness. Now, Salakia, that's another video. That just caught my eye, Salakia. Where's the comments? Forgive me, the screen is sideways at the moment because I've got the phone horizontal because I wanted to do a close-up of that Eve's face so you could see it in action. And I'll get some more precepts on that. But before I do that, let me just read some of these comments. It says, it's crazy that the discussion, this ridiculous, is even taking place in Congress. She's a good example of what is wrong with this country. I genuinely feel sorry for anybody under 30 these days. How on earth did we end up in a world like this? She is a person who can talk continuously without actually saying anything. You know, she just dodges questions faster than a teenager dodges responsibility. All right, so let me get the second part of this clip here. Forgive me, it's a bit tricky doing this sideways. This is the second clip here I want to play.
Rules were clear.
Do you believe? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Title IX was a landmark civil rights law. It helped create the incredible breadth of women's sports and girls' sports that we see across the country. I believe in girls' sports. I believe in women's sports. I'm the proud father of 2 daughters who are both athletes. I think participating in competitive sports is a wonderful thing for a young girl. I think it is a wonderful thing for a woman. And I think, unfortunately, today's Democrat Party has decided that women's sports and girls' sports no longer matters. And they're willing to push radical legislation designed to destroy girls' sports and women's sports. Ms. Gaines, I want to thank you for your courage. You are relatively young, but you have demonstrated incredible courage. And because you have dared to speak up, you have been demonized, you have been vilified. I saw when you were attacked by a leftist mob at San Francisco State University for daring to speak up. You had an incredible record as a swimmer at the University of Kentucky. You were a 2-time NCAA All-American. You were a 5-time SEC champion. You're an SEC record holder and a 2-time Olympic trial qualifier. But yet on March 27th, 2022, something changed. What happened on March 17th, 2022?
That's when Thomas and I raced in the 200 freestyle and again resulted in a tie.
And so you tied. What was the consequence of tying?
We went behind the awards podium where typically you're handed your trophy, you're marched out, you're named an All-American. And so we go back there and the official looks at both Thomas and myself and says, "Great job, but you guys tied. And we only have 1 trophy, therefore we're giving this trophy to Leah." And I question this and I say, why? And at first I shortened it in my testimony, but really he stumbled on his words. He didn't know how to answer this. And at first he's, well, we're just doing this in chronological order. To which I further pressed and I said, okay, well, what are you being chronological about? Because we tied. And if we're doing this off alphabetical order, G comes before T. So what are you being chronological about? To which this wasn't a script they had prepared for him. And he actually appreciated his honesty. He did say, we have to give the trophy for Leah because Leah has to have it for pictures. They've made that clear. Leah has to have the trophy for pictures. You can pose with this trophy, but you have to give yours back. You have to go home empty-handed. Leah Thomas takes the trophy home. End of story.
Now, let me ask you, as someone who's competed at the elite level, in your experience, is there a difference between women and men?
Of course. I think we learned this at a very young age, watching even 12 and unders play. Going through puberty causes irreversible advantage that no matter the training, no matter the diet, no matter any alterable change you can make will overcome that male advantage. Especially in sports like swimming where lung capacity matters so much. Even something as silly as throat size, men have on average a 40% larger throat, which sounds like it's nothing. But when you're grasping for air, that 40% larger throat makes a huge difference in athletic success, not to mention height. You guys know the differences.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
What I can say here is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition
Okay,
happened,
I'm going to try
the
again.
rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the
Is that a yes?
conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex,
Is
but
that
I
a
also
yes?
think
So I'm
that
trying to
when
get a yes or no.
You see how Eve is dodging the question. You see, this shows why women aren't supposed to be put in positions to teach, man. Let me get some more precepts here. Bear with me a second and pull some more up. Because she's doing a bang up job for Master Esau. Let's get this. Promoting his LGBTQ agenda. So what's the scripture I wanted to get? Bear with me. Just popped out of my head. Got to try and remember it. Oh, beguiled. That's it. This is 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 3. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Hamashiach. So, the truth is very simple. The truth is very simple. But through the subtlety of the serpent, which was a man in the garden, Eve became beguiled and deceived to where the truth was no longer simple. Now, the scriptures talk about let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Let's get that one. When you're asked a simple question, if I can even find it. Yeah, here we go. 5 and 37 of Matthew 5 verse 37. Let's get that. Matthew 5. Oops. Verse 6, Matthew 5, 37. But let your communication be yea, yea, or nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. And this is a great example of that. Read that again. Matthew 5 verse 37 says, but let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. So look how Eve is tap dancing around the issue. Giving it all the fluff talk. You see Eve, look man, a person can be taught, known by their look. And she just looks completely ignorant there. That's Eve in action, man. So let's get back to it.
I'm trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're not answering that. Let me ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is different than gender.
Why
and I do believe that women's sports have a great value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right now.
Ms. Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But why have a separate category for women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the last decade.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record an article from Duke Law called Comparing Athletic Performances for the Best Elite Women to Boys and Men. And it goes through examining in 2017 the top records for women in the world in various track and field events. So, for example, in the 100 meter, the top record for women in the world was 10.71 seconds. Now, that record for the number one woman in the world in 2017 was in the year 2017 broken by 124 boys under 18. In that same year, the record for the number one competing woman in the 100-meter dash in the world was broken by a total of 2,474 men. If the radical Democrat agenda to destroy girls' sports and women's sports succeeds, little girls will not have a chance to compete. So I ask unanimous consent that this article be entered into the record.
Without objection, Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues,
So Eve just got destroyed by the facts there. But Eve is still going to keep riding out for Esau because that's her job. This woman here, if you get on the screen. Yeah, this Eve's going to continue to ride out for Esau and push his agendas because she believes in his philosophies. The scriptures say there's no new thing under the sun, man. No new thing under the sun. Eve has been doing this since Genesis. Riding out for Esau. Let's get some precepts on this because this is a wicked woman right here. No liars of the truth. Let's get that one. John 8:44. Let's get this one. That's a good one to get for this woman here. This book of John chapter 8 and verse 44. It says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it." So she's there doing Esau's bidding. What else do I want to get? Bear with me, I'm just pulling up another precept here. This is Sirach 25. Sirach 25 and verse 16 says, "I would rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth." Jumping down verse 19, Sirach 25:19. "All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her." Sirach 25 and 24. "Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die." Moving into Sirach 26. No, that's not what I want. This is Sirach 26 and 24. "A dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. A woman that honoureth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoureth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. Yeah, that's that on that. So yeah, this is Eve doing what Eve does and riding out for her daddy Esau. Let's play some of this again.
Players that the NCAA has
Larger throat makes a huge difference in athletic success, not to mention height. You guys know the differences.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
what I can say here is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition
Okay,
happened,
I'm going to try again.
the rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the
Is that a yes?
conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is
but
that
I
a
also
yes?
think
So I'm
that
trying to
when
get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're
which
not
is
answering
different
that.
than
Let me ask
gender.
you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex
My
is different
question,
than gender.
why
and I do believe
why
that
do
women's
women's
sports have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a
we talked
separate
about it here
category for
today.
women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the last decade.
Mr. Chairman,
which
I would
determine
like to enter into
related
the
to
record an
participation.
article from Duke Law called Comparing Athletic Performances for the Best Elite Women to Boys and Men. And it goes through examining in 2017 the top records for women in the world in various track and field events. So, for example, in the 100 meter, the top record for women in the world was 10.71 seconds. Now, that record for the number one woman in the world in 2017 was, in the year 2017, broken by 124 boys under 18. In that same year, the record for the number one competing woman in the 100-meter dash in the world was broken by a total of 2,474 men. If the radical Democrat agenda to destroy girls' sports and women's sports succeeds, little girls will not have a chance to compete. So I ask unanimous consent that this article be entered into the record.
Without objection. Senator Padilla?
So there you go, man. The facts crushed Eve, but Eve will still continue lying because that's what Eve does, man. Because she's so drunken off of the philosophies of the serpent that she's just gone, man. That's why in this day and age, you did do well to stay away from the so-called nigger woman, man. Can't be reasoned with, can't be bargained with, not subject to any form of truth. Following after the philosophies of the serpent. Let's get that one again. Bear with me, I'm just pulling up a precept I had earlier when I'm going to bring it out again and close out on that, right? 2 Corinthians 11 and 3 again. And we'll close out on this one. 2 Corinthians 11 and 3 says, "But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent, which was a man with serpent-like intelligence, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Hamashiach." Now, I've shown you in the Bible how there's only two sexes and two genders, male and female created he them. Yeah, so it's very simple. But through the subtlety of the serpent, Eve has been beguiled, and he's deceived the whole world into thinking that there can be, you know, infinite sexes and infinite genders. It's really just shameful that we've gotten to this point where these lies have become so prevalent and have obscured the simplicity of the truth. Now, if you speak the truth in certain arenas, you get penalized for it, such as even here on YouTube, which is why you have to use certain code words in your speech to avoid getting your content taken down. But yeah, man, that's just that on that video. Those are the precepts I wanted to bring out on it. But I was watching this hearing and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, man. I mean, we know Eve is a mess, but this is just some next level bullshit, man. There's a brother in the camp who has a saying: if Esau's the gun, you know, the so-called black woman is the bullet. You know, she's there riding out for Esau's agendas. Complete idiot, man. But hey, she's being paid to do it, so that's what Eve's gonna do, because she's got no loyalty. Only loyalty she has is to Esau, not to the Most High or her man. So yeah, man, you do well to stay away from the so-called, you know, nigger woman. But with that, you know, that's the lesson. So Lord doing it is edifying. You know, we need deliverance from this place, man. We seek a kingdom wherein dwelleth righteousness and truth. This isn't it, man. This place isn't it. You know, Micah chapter 2 verse 10 tells us that we should arise and depart, because this is not our rest, because it is polluted and it will destroy us even with its sore destruction. So yeah, man, we hasten the day of the return of our Lord Yahushua to deliver us from all this madness. So with that, once again, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Wahakadash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone at Ruel, and shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel and the rest of the elect destined to be saved. And I will catch you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Shalom for now.